We need a break, kind of sleepy day. Huh? Myself, too. Loud voice and kind of, I can make some joke, but my teachers don't like that. When you teach, during the teaching, you can make joke, My teach.
That's what makes us laugh.
Okay, second, right? Another important thing is how do we have good conduct at work? This is very important thing because sometimes it can bring out harming others, saying negative things, jealousy, gossiping, all that, All this is a very common problem for workers. You want happiness at work, but your happiness can only come from having a good conduct, good attitude, training the mind, right? And when we say good attitude, what kind of attitude do we need? Do we need to cultivate? As usual, right? Attitude of mindfulness, bodhicitta, attitude of bodhicitta, your wisdom awareness, attitude of wisdom. These are very important. Okay, as I said first, when you go to work, your motivation is very important because it is a method to transform everything into a kind mind, right? A kind mind and wisdom. That's why I always say, good motivation, very important, because once you correct and you have a good motivation, you see you have a kind mind. That's the point. That's the thing. Because this is a great sort of technique and method to transform everything into a kind mind. Then second, when you go to work, another is like your commitment. Your commitment is very important. It is a method to improve your working life. Both when you meditate, right, on your cushion, you make commitment every day. Oh, this is my commitment. I do this. I do practice every day. That's your commitment. Same thing when you go to work, whatever you want, you have to make a commitment. Of course, with mindfulness, right? But once you correct your motivation, then actually commitment is like automatically comes right after, like correct. If you have a good motivation, then your commitment will come. Tells you, oh, you have to do this. Commitment. So then the third is when you go to work, your conduct. Your conduct is very important. And it is a method to accomplish accomplish great benefit and happiness while at work. So you should sort of try to analyze every single attitude of body, speech, and mind, right? So, and you should try to must not mix them with the confusion or any other sort of any other negative emotions. If negative emotions arise, you should try to remember mindfulness. We forget, always we forget. That's why the definition of mindfulness is not forgetting, right? When I prepare my teachings like that, every day I forget, correct my motivation, and then at the end, the dedication, sometimes forget. And then I write correct motivation, dedication, right in front of my computer, like you put there and you see it, and then you remember. Because sometimes we have lots of distractions, so then we forget. So you have to something like remind you, put something there. We know these are very important, correct motivation, commitment, everything important, but sometimes we forget. So conduct, good attitude is very important. And in order to change your attitude, you need this sort of this precious moment. And through that, your work will be very meaningful and beneficial. Meaningful and beneficial working is very important. But you see, we all right now it's like interdependent in this world, and the whole world is connected each other right now. So you can see that respect. I'm talking about this conduct, good conduct, respecting others and benefiting others is actually benefiting oneself in the end. We usually have sort of wrong view by thinking of benefiting oneself versus benefiting others. Usually, benefiting oneself and benefiting others are two precious things, right? But when we have this wrong view and see them as a sort of contradictory, to each other, benefiting oneself, benefiting others, two different things. Then these two, benefiting oneself, benefiting others, are very precious, two precious things. But when we have this this wrong view, then two this kind of precious things are not connected to each other. Teachers always usually say, like, usually we feel and we think if benefit others, we believe that we are losing something, losing something for ourselves. For example, I have $5 and I give others, then I'm losing this money. That's what we believe, right? We benefit others and we are losing something for ourselves. But teachers say that it is actually not like that. Benefiting others actually benefit oneself. Because when you benefit others and you wish good for others, then good things come back to you. That's they said. This is the law of nature, or karma, whatever. So we should understand this. Otherwise, we will not be able to work with others, sort of, uh, peacefully. From this is really true, if they say, benefiting others, actually benefiting yourself. From my experience, like when I have a good motivation, then I will actually get the benefit. If I have a bad motivation, then I will see it. Oh, okay, so I have this problem now because I can see that. So if we don't know these things, then we'll not be able to work with others very like properly, and peacefully. I think this is important because it doesn't really matter, whether you are working in your office or somewhere else. All of your situation involves communication, and they all related to each other. What I think is that you have to. Another thing is, like, today we're talking about working, right? Working situation. So another thing is like, what I think is like that you have to work very hard and honestly, especially, those who make a lot of money. You can't just get money from your company or whatever, without having a good motivation and without working hard. I think that's not right. I can see like many people just want this job, but then really don't want to work very hard. I can see that. I don't know what is their motivation, but then through that sort of conduct, I can see I don't think they have good motivation. you know Sometimes when I go to somewhere and shop and people is like for example Target. You go there and lots of people just they hire lots of people there, but they're not working. They're just I can see that at the store. I think you have to work very hard and very honestly. Means like once you have this good motivation, you will do these things. And then it's good for you, and good for them. That's what I mean, like having a good motivation. If you work very hard with a good motivation and do your work uh, harmoniously, sincerely, and as much as you can, then even like if something goes wrong with your work, I think it will be okay. You don't have to worry. Most people, like, they have this like stress and worry and anxiety, this because I did my best, but still this is wrong. Okay, I have a problem with this, people, this is wrong. That's You don't have to worry that, because if you work very hard and you have good motivation, then something goes wrong. I think that's not your fault. You don't have to worry. You should investigate yourself. Okay, I did my best. So then you don't have this regret. be great, and then you will be satisfied with your work, you know. What I think also, like, you know, our daily life, you know, in our daily life, you know, when you like wake up with great motivation. As soon as you wake up, and then you should remember, correct your motivation. And then you have a long, sometimes long day, very short day, or whatever, with the great motivation. And then you come back home from work, and then you go to bed with satisfaction. Those two, I think, very important. So motivation, satisfaction. Wake up with great motivation, go to bed with satisfaction. So that's what I mean. You know, if you have great motivation and then you work every day and work very hard, honestly, then you have satisfaction. Oh, you're very satisfied when you go to bed. Then you have a good sleep. No stress, right? No stress, and your mind is very, very peace, you know, relax, and then you have this, you have satisfaction, you know. Then you have, you know, good day. Again, in order to do that, you know, you should try to remember mindfulness, right? Otherwise, you don't remember. You forget correct your motivation. So that is how you let go of your stress, your anxiety. So this is not difficult, right? It makes sense, right? You have a good life because of your job, right? You have everything that you need. So that makes sense. You should like work very honestly and having a good motivation. Makes sense. Easy to easy to correct your motivation. Never think that, okay, I go to work, but I don't care this company is successful or not. I don't care. I just go and then get my money. That's not right. So if you have good motivation and then you have satisfaction, for sure, that is how you let go. That is how you let go of your stress and anxiety. So that's the kind of process, you know, process, right? Otherwise, you have full of stress and you just you can't let go. You know, okay, you can recognize that you are suffering. You have stress, anxiety. You can recognize that, but you can't let go of that if you don't take this process. There's a method, right? There's a method. So how you that's what I say, you know. People, teachers can't say, oh, you have to let that go. You can't if you don't take this process. If you take this process, then that's how you let go of your anxiety, your stress, and then you can. And when you're having a hard time, you have to understand it is only sort of temporary thing. Because, you know, you understand from Buddhist point of view, you know, like everything is temporary, right? Everything is temporary. Your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your perception, everything. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. This is another way how you let go of your problems. I mean, the stress. Nothing is permanent. Therefore, try to You know, therefore, don't sort of stress or have anxiety, because no matter how bad the situation is, it will change. We should understand that. It will change. You will never be happy if you're always worried about what others think about you, for example. Because, whatever you do, good or bad, whatever you do, people will always have something negative to say about it. That's just how it is. You can't follow that all the time and, just think about it and, if you do this, you will never be happy if you always worried about what other people say, or think about you. Just let that go, right? So it doesn't really matter what people say about you. What does matter is having a good motivation, and that doesn't depend on others' thoughts at all. That's why it is very important to have a good motivation with whatever you do. Then doesn't matter what other people say or think about you. That's what how I feel, myself. And with my situation, people say, "Oh, it's a bad teacher," or people say, "Good teacher." I mean, sometimes it matters to me, right? But then I investigate my motivation. If I have pure motivation, then easy to let it go. What other people say, whatever. Because if you have a good motivation, then you see, fundamentally, you are a very good person. And you're a very pure person, right? Because motivation is inside you. That means you have a kind mind. So that's why I always say, that motivation is very important. For example, when you are enjoying working somewhere with a good motivation, at that point, your work is going to become be very very helpful to your company, to organization, the society, or even your like meditation center. At that point, your personal life is not separate from your working life. That's why work is very important. We need work. Work is not, I think, not necessarily only for money, but also for our discipline. Discipline means like being able to recognize what is happening and then having the good conduct for that situation, which can either be doing something for yourself or something for others. That is discipline. Without discipline, we have very not good life, Therefore, I think work is an excellent sort of environment to develop our discipline. That's why I always say, do something. I think even if you are sort of retired, you should do something like voluntarily. Otherwise, you just you what you do. Some people don't practice, and then you just watch TV, and then it's just kind of So just do something. Work is sometimes very fun. And good for everybody. Of course, sometimes it can be very difficult, but there's always a solution. And work always sort of it's like opportunities, to practice or discipline, Do you remember there's a very famous and important and very useful this quote from Shantan. There was, he said, if you are the way of bodhisattvas, I think. And he said that if you can solve your problem, then you don't have to worry about it. If you cannot solve your problem, then what is the use for worrying? Whenever I have problem, I always remember this quote. Really, really good solution. It's really true. You have to think about this sort of instruction when we have problems. Do you remember that? Karte juice yonan de la merger hiachirgu. Karte juice menan de la merger hichipen. That means if you can solve your problem, then you don't have to worry about it. If you cannot solve your problem, why? Not why, then your worry is useless, kind of useless. If you cannot do, you cannot solve, you cannot fix, right? Then let it happen. You just no worry. Useless. It's really true, logically, actually. A great instruction. Now, how do we bring mindfulness and practice into work? So in Buddhism, as you know, in Buddhism, there are so many solutions and methods, right? That they teach us how to solve our problems with these solutions. So usually problems are the completely like, the problems are opposite of the solution, okay? Usually, right? We have a problem, we have a solution, and then we understand that the solution and the problem are complete opposite. Okay, like fire and water, right? Like that, which is very easy for beginners to practice, right? Oh, this is problem. This is my problem, okay, and this is my solution, my antidote. So you will see it two different things: problem and solution. It's like your problem is like fire, and then your solution is like water, right? So you have solution, and then so they're totally kind of opposite. And then as you practice higher and higher, first you practice Hinayana, then you practice Mahayana, then you practice Vajrayana, like you have practice higher and higher with more sort of profound solutions. Then the gap between solution and problem becomes more sort of narrow. For example, when the we have Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Hinayana practitioners say that you have to give up or abandon your problem. Mahayana practitioners say, no, you don't have to give it up. You can transform your problem. And then Vajrayana practitioners say, no, you don't need to either give it up or transform it. You can take it as the path. So you have ability to use your problem as the path. So they give us like a good example. For example, if there is this is Vajrayana's teaching, okay. For example, if there is a like poisonous tree, then you have this poisonous tree, and then you have these three people, okay, Mahayana, Vajrayana, Hinayana. If you have three people, and they have three different ideas about this poisonous tree, right? And then the Hinayana person would say, we have to remove this tree. We have to cut down this poisonous tree. And Mahayana's person said, you don't need, we don't have to cut down this tree, beautiful tree. We have a medicine, right? We have a medicine, so we can transform this poisonous tree into a medicinal tree or into beautiful tree. And then Vajrayana, person would say, no, the poisonous tree doesn't actually exist. So you don't have to you don't have to do anything about it. Leave it as it is. That's Vajrayana say. Therefore, in the tantras, the teachings, in the tantra, the solution is the problem. The problem is solution. They are one. There is no two different things. Your attachment is problem, but your attachment is solution. Anyway, but we don't go there, right? If we don't like that idea, what is that? It's better to have sort of this is the solution, this is a problem. So it's easier for us to practice that way, right? If you have fire, okay, you're looking for water. So that's very easy. So now, what is our problem? We're talking about problem and solution. Our problem is all these distractions, stress, anxiety, worry, all these things. These are the problem. These are our problems, right? Now, what is the solution? Mindfulness, awareness, a kind mind. So we need the sort of technique for, brain mindfulness and practice into your working life. So I'm sure you know we had this mindfulness teaching last time, right? Mindfulness is the sort of act of bringing your full attention to what is happening in the present moment. So you bring your mind back to your body. Don't forget it. That's it. Not forgetting your energy, not forgetting your breath. Mindfulness is the kind of energy that helps you to be fully present. Means like mindfully work, mindfully eat, mindfully drink, etc. Mindfully talk. So you can be more aware of everything that is happening, and without being without being caught in the past or worries about future. So I think that's it. When you go to work and then you work mindfully, and then you take a break, and maybe you drink a cup of tea. Don't think about what you did. Just focus on the tea, right? And then maybe you have a meeting, and then don't think about the tea. You focus on the meeting and talk. That's how you do it. Mindfully means like mindfully work means like usually when we have cup of tea and then we're thinking about what you did, whatever. There's so many situations you're thinking. You bring those lots of past thinking, those thoughts bring, and then you don't know what is happening this moment because you're drinking tea but you're not focused on that. So mindfulness means like whatever you do, for example, you go to bathroom, don't think about tea, don't think about work, just focus on the bathroom, right? So that is the mindfulness. Just focus on present moment and make sure that you understand what is happening this moment. I mean, that is our life. So that's why this is very convenient practice. You can think of mindfulness is like you can practice anywhere. Teachers say that, sometimes people say, okay, when I practice mindfulness, I have to go somewhere and sit and then meditate. That's teachers say that's wrong idea. You don't have to do that. I mean, you can do that, but not necessarily because you can practice mindfulness anywhere. You can practice like mindfulness anytime, you know, even though during your busy working, you can practice mindfulness in the bathroom, practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime. That's why we say mindfulness at work. So this is very important to realize. You have more experience, like work experience than I do, right? But I have the key point, the solution, which is the mindfulness. That's when I say, okay, people may think, today we have this topic, happiness at work means like, mindfulness at work. I don't have lots of experience like work experience like you do. I have this teaching, this is my job, right? I have lots of experience this, but doesn't matter. The solution is these things: motivation, a kind mind, good conduct, mindfulness. That's why I can teach. I can teach, this kind of, happiness at work. This is very important. So you can bring peace and joy to yourself and others. And just, try to let go of thoughts about past and about the future. Try to stay in the present moment. And when you try to sort of, stay in the present moment, you begin to see, it's really true, you begin to see and when you see, you will understand. And when you understand, you can generate awareness, peace, and joy. That's the thing. Because, we're not stay in the present moment, then we don't see, then we don't understand, then we don't have awareness, then we don't have peace, we don't have joy. So that's why mindfulness is very important. Maybe that's the topic, mindfulness at work, rather than like we say happiness at work. Mindfulness at work. Maybe you should write write that big letters, mindfulness at work, and put in your office, and then you will see. You will see it. You will remember it. You will remember it. Then you have this awareness. So the thing is in here like solution and problem. That's what we have to remember. Problem is, I can say, like emotions, right? Stress, all this worry, all these things, our problem. And the solution, mindfulness. Now, I think I'm going to stop here to talk. We should practice. We should meditate for a little bit longer than last section, So how to bring mindfulness into work? So this meditation is recognize your thoughts and your situation, and then relax. So it doesn't matter you have a good situation or bad situation when you go to work. It doesn't matter. You should visualize something like that. This, you are in your office, and then how you bring your mindfulness into this moment, the work. So try to recognize your situation and then relax. That's what we do, right? That's you do when you go to work. You have sometimes good situation, means you're doing good job. Then it's possible it brings you like pride. I am a special person. I have this capacity. You have to recognize that too, right? And sometimes you're okay. I'm doing very bad job here. And then it brings you lots of this anxiety and stress, everything. You have to recognize that and try to relax. So this is mindfulness and awareness meditation, right? But, same, exactly same. This is like breathe in, relax, breathe out, relax. At the same time, recognize your feelings, your thoughts, and then relax again. Remember, teachers say like, do not further anything. Dzogchen teachers say that when they meditate. Do not further anything means like, once you have the thoughts, you should not develop any further, kinds of thoughts, That is your concentration. I like this, This is exactly how I translate into English, Do not further anything. That's it. That's the solution. That's the instruction. So that's your concentration. The aim of your concentration is to create sort of longer time of awareness. That is concentration, right? Concentration means like to create longer time, try to create longer times of awareness, so that eventually you can bring mindfulness into your work. Otherwise, we remember and then we forget. And then we remember, we forget, right? So that's just like very common. So this concentration is important, but if you are not there, that's fine. What is important right now is, I always say this, right? So not how long you focus on your concentration, but how soon you return to it from your thoughts. For beginners, very important, this instruction. This is from teachers, lineages, right? So people think when you go to meditate, right away, remember, forget thoughts, and then you mindful like right away like that, right? And then you worry, I can't meditate. Lots of distraction. That's not the case. The case is you, as soon as you sort of bring your mind back, eventually then you have this concentration. So that means eventually you can create longer time of mindfulness, longer time of awareness at work in your life. Okay? So that's. Maybe, let's meditate on that. 15 minutes? Are you sleepy? Okay, 15 minutes, okay? People need mindfulness, practice mindfulness. It's very important. Never think that, okay, this is, he teaches us again mindfulness. People are looking something new, right? Last time we should meditate. I can teach you different meditations, but sometimes people like that. But then I realized that if we do all the time two different things, then we're not actually we're not sort of developing. So we do same things over again and again, then eventually, like just I said, your concentration or your, you can create, if you do meditate every day same, and then you can create eventually like longer time of mindfulness and awareness. So once you have mindfulness, actually you have everything. Then your work become spiritual. Your working life becomes spiritual life. Then you are never regret. Then you don't see actually this is negative. That's why you can't just work without practice, or you can't meditate without work. So that's eventually we have to, like, from the Mahayana point of view, transform into your work situation, transform into the spiritual, your path, right? Vajrayana, I said that I have a reason. I say that the solution and problem become one. That's we have to try. Your working life become a spiritual life. Working life bring you sort of give you the liberation. Indian yogis, this 80 Mahasiddhas, they just ordinary person, looks like ordinary people. They work every day. They have family, everything like that. But they're enlightened beings. So we can do that. So don't really think the working is bad or negative. It depends how much, right? How you handle, with your mindfulness. So develop your mindfulness every day. It's very important. Okay, meditate for 15 minutes, please. You can pick one, whatever you want, like meditate for 15 minutes. If you want mindfulness meditation, then you just breathe in, relax, breathe out, relax. It's easy. Nothing. You don't have to do anything. Breathe in. Make sure that you are relaxing. Breathe out. Make sure that you understand really you are relaxed. The key point is, make sure that you are here. That's it. You have to recognize that I am here. If you are not here, you lost already everything. So that's the thing. Okay? For 15 minutes, please. Good. If I ask you what is the definition of happiness, what do you say? That's my definition. You're taking mine. Are you agree? My definition of happiness? You do? What else? Who thinks different ways? The definition of your happiness. We're not talking about ultimate definition of happiness, but the relative or worldly happiness. What is the definition?
Content.
That's same. That's satisfaction, right?
Calm mind.
Huh?
A calm mind.
Calm mind? Think about it. What?
Sense of ease. Most happy when I'm helping somebody else.
Yeah, that's good one too. Yes, if you have a good motivation and then you are able to help others, or you have opportunity, that makes you really happy. Okay, so dedication and then have a lunch.